Hi everybody, welcome to Yoga with Danica. I'm Danica. Today we're going to do Yin Yoga for your upper back. And if you are new to Yin Yoga, yay, that's awesome. I really hope that you love it. The only thing you're going to need for today's practice are 2 blocks. You don't even need a mat. You can just use a blanket or your carpet or whatever. So make your way onto your mat and let's get started. So we'll begin today seated comfortably. Close the eyes and just tap into your breath for a few cycles. So for those of you that are new to the Yin practice, we are going to be working into the deeper connective tissues. And what we need in order to reach those deeper connective tissues is stillness and softness. So when we begin to move through the practice, I want you to just remember stillness and softness, going to your edge in a pose that you can maintain comfortably. Deep breaths in and out. And we're just going to begin to move the upper body around in a really big circle from the hips. So moving all the way forward and around and back. And allow your spine to move as well. So you're not a rigid machine, you're moving more fluidly. And reverse the direction. Last big circle. Make your way back up to neutral spine, and then just from the ribs, start to move just the rib cage around in a smaller circle in one direction. We'll begin here in a minute with the ribs. So obviously if we're working with the upper back, we're going to be getting into them ribs. But reverse the direction. But I like to kind of warm myself into it first, because it's hard to go directly into a yoga pose straight away and not move, at least for me. And then come back to your tall neutral spine, and then just take a few easy head rolls. So your neck is obviously not the most stable part of the body. So treat it like it's fragile. With care, reverse the direction. Notice how your breathing is today, how your seat feels today. And then bring it back slowly to neutral. And now we begin the Yin. So go ahead and grab just one of your blocks. And we're going to set it down on its second height. So this would be first height, second height, third height. And the rib cage is going to go, the right rib cage is going to go right on top of this flat surface. So the middle of the block should be right in line with where your bra strap would be, or is. Who knows? Go ahead and drop yourself. Just gently drape yourself over. And bend the elbow. You're just going to lean your head into your hand. Most likely right away you're feeling a lot of sensation. If that's true for you, just pause there and breathe into it. If you're like, yeah, this is fine, then add a little bit of movement so you can rock forwards and backwards. You will find a place that's like, ooh, and it feels like an obvious sensation or jolt of sensation. When you find that, you can move a couple of times. It's called shearing back and forth, working through that connective tissue that might be all balled up and sticky or even hardened from lack of movement there. But once you find that place, we're all going to pause wherever that place is for you. And we're going to find that stillness. And then, slowly, we're going to find that softness. So scanning the body right here, and just ask yourself, how can I let go just a little bit? Maybe it's as simple as taking a deeper breath, letting your teeth fall apart, not fall apart, but gently part, so that you can release tension in your jaw. What's going on in the legs? Are the hips taking the extra load of tension on? So it takes about a minute for your body, for the muscles to relax, because the muscles are there to protect the joints. When the joints begin to move, the muscles fire up. What we want to do is find so much stillness that the muscles completely relax and we can move deeper into those joints, the ligaments, the tendons. And for most of us, not putting pressure or stress to the ligaments and joints has always been the goal. But in YIN, we practice gentle pressure over longer periods of time on the joints in order to make them stronger. So if you think about stress in a positive way, we all typically need stress in our life. We're still holding here, deeper breaths. Constructive stress helps us move forward in life. Gentle pressure over longer periods of time help us move forward in life. Same with the joints. Gentle pressure over longer periods of time make them stronger, more resilient, as well as making our nervous system stronger and more resilient. Let's just take 2 more breaths here. In YIN, everything is slowed down. So as we begin to transition out of this, you're going to do it very slowly in your own way, however feels good for you. We're just going to lift up halfway and take a deep breath here. Deep breath in and out. Keep everything where it is. We're just going to move that block up a couple of inches so it's right underneath of the arm, in the armpit. I really wish there was, I just don't know why I hate that word so much. But anyway, we're going to place that same side right underneath of the armpit. Much more sensitive area, usually. That's why we're all ticklish, I think. So rest your head in your hand. And you're probably feeling it. So wherever you are, just breathe. Find a little bit of softness. And notice the urge to not be uncomfortable, to try to situate yourself to find more comfort and ease. That's not really what YIN is about. YIN is about being able to sit in this discomfort, breathing through the discomfort, breathing through the stress to get to a newer level, a more resilient level for the nervous system. So again here, finding that shearing back and forth. kind of feels a little bit icky. So unclench the jaw. Take deeper breaths. And then find a place that feels uncomfortable, like feels like your edge, but that you can maintain a certain level of stillness. So as the muscles begin to soften and as we move our way through the connective tissue into the joints, there will be a little bit of give. There'll be a new level for the body to relax into. So finding that stillness, finding your softness. So I can feel right away that when I'm releasing tension here, my lower body tries to rev up. I can find softness and stillness there. And you might notice the deeper that you get into it, especially after your full minute of stillness, that your arm starts to tremble. Sometimes tears come to your eyes, not out of pain. If tears are coming to your eyes out of pain, back out. Just all the time. No, you don't need to take yourself that far, but sometimes tears come to your eyes because it's a reaction, it's a release. Let's just take 2 more breaths here. Stillness and softness. And just like before, moving out of your pose with the breath very slowly. Set the block off to the side. And let's just come up for a second. We're going to find this stag deer leg pose. So the right leg is forward and my knee is right behind the right foot, kind of like 2 90-degree angles. And place both hands on the right side and just a very gentle twist. Deep breath in. And the exhale will unwind you. Make your way very slowly onto all fours. And let's let's bend the wrists the opposite direction so the tops of the hands are on the mat, fingers are pointing back towards your knees, and you're just gently sinking your hips back. They don't need to go all the way back to your heels. They can if you're feeling extra flexible, but just breathe into it. Notice the difference between the 2 sides of the rib cage as well. See if you notice anything different, or maybe you don't, and that's okay too. Just take deep breaths. All right, come back up onto all fours. So we're going to bring this right knee forward, coming into a variation of a pigeon pose, but bringing the leg more in. So traditional pigeon pose has your leg up like this. We're going to bring it in like this. And then sink that left hip down. So that it's kind of resting on the foot. The left hip is resting on the foot. And then bring the hands out in front of you a little bit. And just pause here, thinking of lifting the heart, lengthening the spine. And it's going to get a little tricky. You can do it. Go to your edge. The thing about this is it doesn't need to look like anything specific, right? It just needs to feel right to you. We're going to thread the left arm underneath the right. And then very gently roll onto that left shoulder. So pause here for just a minute. You can lay your head down on the ground. You can bring the right hand to the hip or the low back. Or you can begin to try to straighten that right arm back behind you. So, see, it doesn't look super duper pretty. If that's not happening for you with your right leg or your foot underneath of your left hip, then just bring it out to the side like a 90-degree angle and stretch back. So there's no need to prove anything to yourself about what you can and can't do. But also, I think something that's very interesting is when we were going into this pose, notice if there was something in your mind that just said automatically, oh no, I can't do that. Oh no, that's not something I'm ever going to be able to do. If I were you, I would really get rid of that story. Because if it's happening here, while you're alone on your yoga mat, it is most likely happening in other areas of your life. So if you need to move anything to find a little bit more ease, do that now. But remember that we are still moving to our edge of discomfort. Just find that slow, full breathing. And through the next minute or so, resist the urge to move or to fix anything. Any sensations, any worries, any thoughts, any memories that pop up, let them go. Watch them leave. One thing that I do when things pop up for me, emotions or anything, I just say to myself, how interesting. And there's something about saying, how interesting, that prevents me from creating a whole story around it and getting lost in the imaginary thoughts. Let yourself go a little bit deeper. Very, very slowly, we're going to start to unwind. So take a deep breath in first. And as you exhale, very, very slowly, roll over onto your side in a sort of fetal position. Just laying completely still here in your fetal position. Allowing the body to process and absorb. We got one more move here on the side. So go ahead and bring that top knee forward if it wasn't already there. So it's in that 90-degree thing. And we're going to bend the bottom knee. And just take the top hand and reach back for the bottom knee. If it doesn't reach, that's okay. Just keep this knee bent. And keep this hand on your side. But if it does reach, then grab it. And then very slowly start to again lean back, just the upper body. And you're moving the knees away from each other. Like if you think of a scissors, they're moving away from each other. No idea how much, just till you feel that give, until you feel that block or that stop or that place of your edge. And the tricky part I find in this pose really is to relax, because I always have a tight grip on my foot or something. And it feels like an intricate pose that's very easy to just get lost in the doing of it instead of the just being. Resist the urge to move. Let your body soften. If there's something inside of you right now just clenching, just really wanting this to be over, isn't that interesting? How can you let yourself relax in the moment? Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, very gently release the bottom foot if you're holding it. And we're going to roll over onto our side. Keep rolling. Keep that right knee moving out to the right. And you're rolling onto your belly. You can rest your forehead on your fists, or you can grab one of your blocks and place it right at the bridge of your nose, right in between the eyebrows. So you're hopefully feeling this in your hips. This right knee is out at a 90-degree angle. Ankle is in line with the knee. And we're pushing for both hips to hit the ground. It will likely never happen for some of us. But we're trying to get some release in the inner thighs, hips. How can you let go a little bit more? Take one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to slide that foot back down. Come up into a Sphinx pose with your elbows right underneath of the shoulders. And just very gently sway from side to side. And let the weight of your head go. Curl the toes under. Gently press back up onto hands and knees. And then find whatever kind of movement you need right now. Just very slow and very gentle. Notice the change in your breath just from the beginning until now. How the breath feels on each side of the body. And let's do it again. So we're going to bring the block back and back onto its second height, its medium height. We're going to go for that rib cage again on the left side. So set your legs up. You can come into this deer legs pose. Left leg is forward. The right knee is right behind the left foot. And then take a second to drape yourself on this block. And set yourself up well. Might take a minute. And this side will feel different. So rest your head in your hands. You can find that shearing motion back and forth again. And then just come to a place that you want to be. And then find a way to let go where you can. Finding your stillness and then finding your softness. Letting the breath be the only thing that moves you. So resist that urge to scratch your nose, move your fingers, whatever it is, resist that urge. I remember hearing recently that the scratching your nose thing or having an itch really is a nervous system response. I believe it. Can you release a little bit of tension in the jaw, which likely has an immediate effect on the hips? Try to let any tension in the eyes go. And without creating any story around what you're experiencing, just notice what is coming up for you. There's a certain level of patience needed to approach a yin practice. Not only because the poses are uncomfortable and difficult, but you really have to be with yourself. And for some people, that's not a problem at all. But for others, it's a challenge. And it changes from day to day. Some days are easier than others to show up to yourself. The more I show up to myself, the easier it becomes. The easier it becomes to be uncomfortable, to find my strength, to find my softness. And all of those things are needed just to simply exist in the world. Let's just take 3 more breaths here. Find your softness. And then we're going to slowly release the right hand down, lift our bodies up halfway. Take a deep breath in and out. Move that block up a few inches to the armpit. We'll place it down. And this side will feel different for you. This side is definitely my harder side. So you can find that shearing movement if you need it, or if you've come directly to the place where you're like, nope, this is it, this is what I need, then, stay there. Be there with it, with that uncomfortability. They say that the fascia is our deeply held emotions and feelings. They get stored in our connective tissue, in our fascia. So that's why I think you have an immediate emotional response to the feeling of releasing there. And then as you move into the place you want to be, we're going to find stillness, and then we're going to try to find that softness again. So for me, I can tell that I'm afraid of what will happen when I drip into this softness. So my right arm is fired up, trying to protect me and trying to hold me up, trying to not let me go as deep into the pose. So I nervously have to find a way to position myself so that I do not need at all the arm strength. And I'm only saying that as an example for you to stay inquisitive about your practice, about your responses to the practice. And the impulse to sigh for an audible exhale, that's also coming from the nervous system. That's also a release. Just like tears would be, just like uncontrollable laughing would be. And just let it all go. Let it all happen. Don't attach yourself to it. Just be here right now in this moment with yourself. Try to release in the jaw. the lower body, the space around the eyes, the shoulders. Find that deep breath. Breathe through the uncomfortability. I think everybody knows, if you just sit and think about it, that being uncomfortable is good. It is usually taking you to a new place. Or at the very least, directing you to your place of courage. Let's go ahead and release that right hand to the ground, very, very gently. Lift off of the block. Oh, goodness. Set it off to the side. You have these deer legs going on. Place the hands on the left side and just very gently rotate your body over towards your hands. And see if you can feel the skin and the fascia stretching along with you. I'm going to make more classes about the fascia, what it is, how it moves. Just sort of an introduction to it. And then let's unwind. Make your way onto all fours. So this time the left knee will come forward, and you'll rest your right hip down. And then walk the hands a little bit further forward. Just pause here for a moment. Take a breath. And then we'll thread that right arm through very slowly, roll onto the right shoulder. And then you're just going to try to open it up. That left arm back behind you. If that is just not happening for you, feel free to let that foot come back into that 90-degree angle again and open it up a little more. That doesn't mean that you'll never ever be there. You'll likely be there much faster if you just begin at the beginning where you are today. It doesn't need to look pretty or like anything at all. Once you come to your place, find your stillness. Just resolve to being still for 2 minutes. And let your body soften as it does. It will take about a minute for your body to know that it's okay, it's safe. And that happens with deep, slow breathing. I have a beautiful teacher who described her YIN practice as a starry night with clouds. No, that's not right. She described it as a starry night. That when you go out and lay down and look up at the stars, you can see a few stars. You can see the brightest stars, the most obvious. But the longer that you lie there and your eyes adjust and open up and allow you to see more, you can see the sky is full of stars. They're everywhere. It just takes a little bit of time to relax into the moment. And she says that story so much more eloquent than me. So notice where the little stars are beginning to pop up for you. For example, my left arm is going completely numb. So in that case, you definitely got to move something, because that means a nerve is being pinched, right? So I'm sliding a block underneath of my knee and bringing my left arm a little bit further down so it's not way up high. And then I just resolve again to that stillness. And without attaching the story to my tingling in my arm, just that is interesting. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to roll over onto your side. Rest here for a moment. And then go ahead and prepare by bringing that left knee forward, bend the right, grab a hold of the right foot with the left hand, and allow the upper body to fall back. And then the knees start to move away from each other. So maybe you draw that right knee back a little bit. Allow your body to shake and tremble and twitch and try to distract you while trying to protect itself. Just let that happen. Feel it all. Deep breaths. Where can you soften a little bit more? stillness and softness. Very slowly releasing. Rolling over, sending that left knee out to wherever it goes. So it's in a 90-degree ankle, 90-degree angle. Your ankle is in line with your knee. And then turn the upper body so that your shoulders are facing the ground, and you can use that block again, or you can place your head on your hands, or make two fists if you want. Sending your breath all the way down into the hips. Take 3 more breaths. And then you'll slowly slide that foot down. Bending both of the knees and just windshield wiper the feet back and forth. Push yourself back up very slowly into your tabletop. Just come all the way into a seat, stretching both legs out long in front of you. And you can keep a bend in your knees if you need to, or you can have them straight. You're just going to start to fold forward. And in yin, you really don't have to worry about that structural alignment that you tend to think about in classes where you're using your muscles. We have to align our joints when we're, active with our muscles. But here we are not, and we are trying to get deeper into the joints. So really breathe into the back of your body. Imagine all the little vertebrae and discs inside opening up and receiving all the love you have to give. And then go ahead, roll all the way back up. So for our final yin pose, truly one of my favorite things to do. You can do this. You can do this now. You can do this while you're watching TV for the rest of your life. It's a gentle back bend. You can use pillows if you want to, but I like to use blocks because I just feel like it, I don't know, gets into my back a little bit more. So what you're going to do is set both blocks up the same height, medium height. The one closest to you is the length of the spine. The one furthest away is perpendicular to that. So the bottom of this first block is going to be right at the tip of your scapula, your shoulder blades in the back. So you're going to drape your body over. It'll take a second to line it all up. And then you rest your head on the one behind. If you want a little extra hip opening stuff, you can bring the soles of the feet together and just let the knees fall away from each other. If that feels like maybe a bit too intense, you can just stretch them out long. Do whatever feels good with your hands. So just imagine that your back is just melting around the block. And breathe deeply. Notice what this immediate response is to this posture. For some, it might be immediate relief, just like vacation. But if you carry a lot of frustration around with you, this is probably going to bring that out. And that's good. Let it all come to the surface and notice it and let it go. The more we show up here to the uncomfortable stuff, the more able we are to face it whenever it comes up. Because we'll know how. We'll recognize the feeling and we'll understand what we need in that moment. Is usually to become still, to listen, to breathe deeply into the uncomfortable feelings. And to breathe deeply into the wonderful feelings too. Experience it all. I know personally, I sometimes stop myself from feeling the uncomfortable feelings for fear that it will last forever. And that is just who I will be from now on. But it's just not true. Because you can watch them come to the surface and you can watch them leave. And in each day that you show up to it, it gets a little bit lighter. And once we sort of sweep those feelings away, experience it, watch it leave, I feel like we uncover something new about ourselves, another strength, another part of courage that is needed in our lives and in the world right now. Where can you soften just a little bit more? Maybe bring just the corners of the mouth up a tiny bit. Deep breaths. Take one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, start to bring the knees in. Roll off onto the right side. Just let yourself sort of slink off. Pause for a moment. Here in this fetal position. And then very slowly lift up, just halfway, just so you can move these blocks out of the way. And then come all the way back down onto the back again. Stretch the legs out long. Feel the snap, crackles, and pops. Hug the knees in really close and rock from side to side. We'll just take one last gentle twist after that heart opener. Keeping the knees stacked, we'll drop them both down on the right side and just extend the left arm back behind you. This should feel much less intense than the yin postures. This is just more of a restorative posture. Deep breath in and out. Deep breath in brings the knees up. And exhale, drop them down on the left side. Bring the arms out like a T. Deep breaths. Deep breath in and out. Inhale, lift the knees up. And exhale, hug them in. Reach through the knees, grab a hold of the outside edges of the feet. Lift the soles of the feet up into your happy baby. You can roll the ankles out. Rock from side to side or stay still. And then release the feet back down onto the ground when you're ready. The feet as wide as the mat, knees fall in towards each other. Windshield wiper the knees back and forth. And then we'll pause with the knees falling in towards each other. Constructive resting pose. And I'll let you decide how long you want to remain here. I'll end our practice here, bringing the palms to touch in front of the heart. Finding your moment of gratitude for showing up for yourself today, letting yourself be uncomfortable, to uncover a new level of courage for yourself that we desperately need in the world. It means so much to me that you're here. I hope to see you again next time. Namaste.